People are lying. They're lying to each other, and even more so, they're lying to themselves. The concept of a movie being so bad it's good is not real. It's either an excuse, a misunderstanding, or a statement stemming from the fear of admitting that you actually just like something. You can't think a movie is bad and also think it's good. You can decide that some parts are great and others are lacking, ultimately landing somewhere in the middle, but you certainly can't think that the bad parts are good because they're bad. If they're bad, they're bad. If they entertain you, then they're great. A movie doesn't have to be emotionally moving or narratively groundbreaking or visually impressive. What it does have to do is entertain you. Now, there are plenty of films that get brought up every time this statement comes around. Batman and Robin, Showgirls, Wicker Man, the John Travolta double feature of Gotti and the Fanatic. But there's one film that has always been the pinnacle example of this concept, and it's Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Now, this isn't a review of The Room, but I do want to use it as an example to determine why people like these kinds of movies. For a film with poorly written dialogue, terrible performances, and a nonsensical story, how has it managed to find such a strong audience? There are tens of thousands of movies that have, despite all the effort behind them, resulted in failure. So what is it that's made The Room stand out? Could it possibly be that the movie isn't actually a failure? That it isn't actually bad? That an audience finding so much joy, humor, and entertainment in the movie is actually what makes it good? Or is it the intention that we think matters so much? Is it because, barring a few clearly comedic scenes, that Tommy Wiseau didn't intend for the film to be viewed this way, that we feel compelled to knock it down? If that's the case, then again, I completely disagree. The farthest I might be willing to go is calling it accidentally good. But I mean, even then, there are plenty of movies that soar past their original intentions with the passing of time. Soderbergh's Contagion has taken on an entirely new light post-COVID. Scorsese's Taxi Driver has only become more complicated with modern incel culture. And I know plenty of people who hated Elephant until they got familiar with Gus Van Sant's style and later returned to it. I guess the main difference between these movies and something like The Room is that they were already great to begin with. Which brings me to another likely possibility. Is the failure of Tommy Wiseau actually what we find so funny? Does seeing him deliver a terrible, awkward line of dialogue, knowing that he thought he was creating something great, make us giggle? Is it simply a case of laughing at him instead of with him? If that's so, if you only enjoy The Room because you can sit around with your friends and laugh at someone failing at their dream, then I wouldn't really say you think The Room is a good movie. I'd say maybe you just enjoy relishing in someone else's failure because it makes you feel better about your own. This phrase of so bad it's good seems to perpetuate the idea that there exists some form of objectivity in art. Not only do these movies not fit the standard criteria for good, the very ways in which they go against that criteria is what makes us enjoy them. Instead of using that as evidence that this criteria might just be bogus, we instead create this so bad it's good label as an excuse to let us enjoy the movie. We can't deny the film's appeal to our subjective taste, but we also can't bring ourselves to call something that goes against our objective norms good. We force ourselves to find this weird, pointless compromise. The only bad movie is a boring movie. A movie that's a slog to get through. A movie that doesn't make you feel anything. A movie that brings you joy, that makes you laugh, that you can't help but want to watch over and over and over again, is a good movie. We judge art based on what it is as it exists in the universe, regardless of the original intention. You can recognize that The Godfather is objectively better than The Room, but if you've only seen The Godfather once and you've seen The Room 20 times, you clearly think The Room is a better film. It's okay. Just embrace your taste and admit that you like a movie.